In 1971, Coca-Cola aired what many consider the greatest advertisement ever made. A hilltop in Italy. Hundreds of young people from every corner of the world, standing together, holding bottles of Coke, singing. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Now here's what makes that ad one of the most unsettling endings in television history. It was made by Don Draper, a man who stole someone else's identity, who lied to every person who ever loved him, who spent 30 years selling people feelings he had never felt himself. So the question, the finale of Mad Men, leaves you with the question it refuses to answer cleanly is this. Did Don Draper finally change, or did he just find a better way to sell the lie? To understand the ending, you have to understand the pattern. Don Draper is not simply a complicated man. He is a man built entirely from escape. He was born Dick Whitman, poor, illegitimate, invisible. Then the Korean War gave him a way out. He took a dead soldier's identity and never looked back. And that first escape set the template for everything that followed. When his marriage suffocated him, he had affairs. When the affairs fell apart, he drank. When New York closed in, he drove to California. When California didn't fix it, he came back. When Sterling Cooper became too real, he blew it up and started over. Don doesn't solve problems, he repackages them. He finds a new city, a new woman, a new version of himself, and for a little while, it works, until it doesn't. This is crucial to understand before the finale means anything. Because the question isn't whether Don went to a retreat in California, the question is, was this just another escape? By the time Don reaches the Esalen Institute in the finale, he has nothing left. No job, no family, no city to run to, no identity left to try on. He drove across the country alone, called his ex-wife to find out she was dying, and sat on a payphone crying while his children waited for a father who couldn't come home. Every other time Don ran, he was running towards something. A new life, a new self, a new chance. This time there was nowhere to run to. And that is what makes the clifftop scene different from every other moment in the show. A stranger sits next to Don, a man named Leonard, and describes feeling invisible his entire life. Like he's watching his own family through a refrigerator door, unable to make them see him. Don has never cried in front of anyone, not once in 7 seasons. He pulls Leonard into his arms and weeps. Not because he feels sorry for Leonard, because Leonard is him. Dick Whitman, the man behind every version of Don Draper, the invisible man who became an image. Then he meditates. He sits on a cliff above the Pacific Ocean, and something in him goes quiet. And the show cuts to the Hilltop ad. Most people read that cut as cynical. Don has a breakdown, finds enlightenment, and immediately monetizes it. Same old Don. But I think that reading misses something important about who Don Draper actually is. Don has one gift in this world. He translates feeling into image. That is the only thing he has ever been able to do with the things that happen inside him. Think about the Kodak Carousel pitch. The most emotionally honest moment of his entire career, and it came from real grief, real loss. He wasn't performing, he was processing. The Hilltop ad is the same thing, taken further. Because here is what Don had just experienced at Esalen. He sat in a room full of strangers, people who didn't know his name, didn't want anything from him, had no reason to care about him, and he felt genuine human connection. Simple, unearned, real. Now look at the ad again. A hilltop. Strangers from everywhere. Nothing between them but a simple shared moment. Don didn't invent that image. He recognized it, because he had just lived it. Every other campaign Don ever made was aspirational. Here is the happiness you wish you had. The Hilltop ad is different. It is the first time Don Draper sold something he had actually felt. The piece was real, and the ad came from the piece. Those two things are not in conflict. In fact, one produced the other. Mad Men ends with a question it won't answer for you. That's the point. Matthew Weiner doesn't show us Don making the ad. He doesn't show us Don back in a suit, back at his desk, back to his old life. He just shows us the ad, and lets the gap speak. Because the real question the show is asking isn't about Don Draper. It's about whether people who have spent their whole lives performing happiness can ever actually feel it. And I think the answer Mad Men arrives at quietly, without announcing itself, is yes, but only when they have nothing left to perform for. Don Draper spent his career selling feelings he'd never had. The Hilltop ad was the first one he actually meant. And maybe that's the most human thing about him, that the only way he knew how to hold on to something real was to make something from it. Some people write in journals, some people call their friends. Don Draper made a Coca-Cola ad, I'm not sure that makes it less true.